everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day. My God, it is Wednesday. Been kind of crazy week. Not gonna lie. My dad's been in the hospital, so I've been my brain's been a little bit in a different place. But with that being said, I'm always writing songs and thinking about song theory, and I feel like that's always a place that comes back to me and helps me know who I am and stay centered. So today I wanted to talk about the potential and how I write a lot of the things that I write on this stream. And I kind of wanted to teach people like this hands-on approach, how I just fluidly write music all the time. And some of my friends are always that's why they do take lessons or get mentored. That's why I have a lot of students I teach, because they enjoy the theory workflow. And so today I'm going to give everybody a glimpse, maybe at that process. And this is basically how I write on the OPXY. The theory also is going to lead into what's going on with the scenes, because me and a lot of people have been talking about scenes and trying to figure out the best way to approach the scenes inside the XY. And I'm going to show everybody my approach, because I think there's a pretty cool one. But yeah, we'll look at that, and then I'll explain how when I write a piece of music, I'll explain how it typically unfolds. So diatonic music is a lot of times what I do. So when I say diatonic, everybody knows this is pretty easy. It's like 7-note scale, right? And that's how I wrote most of the music. You know, sometimes I write outside of the diatonic scales. There's other ones I use that are pentatonic, and that would be 5-note. And that other word you might have heard is chromatic, and that's all 12 notes on the piano, right? So when you're looking at the keys, right? And so a lot of times when I start writing on the OP field or OPXY on all my devices, I pick a key. And this derives from something called the circle of fifths. If you look that up on the internet, you will see the keys that I play in. And so when I explain a key signature, where I pull these notes from comes out of that. So today, if we were going to write in a key, I'm going to pick G major, right? And then I'm going to write G. All right, so when I think about the music I'm about to play on any instrument, I basically do this, and I write out little Roman numerals. And this is pretty much every time I'm thinking about music. And then that's the root again, okay? And so when I do this, these all have like locations, right? Like, so you're thinking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And there's more past this, because if you just keep writing, there's like 9, there's a 10 chord. E is the 13. So I just like having up to 13. So if I'm making chords, I kind of know their relationship shapes is the word, right? So there's some kind of shape. I'm going to play a C9, and it's so you can remember what you are playing, okay? And now as I write this piece in front of everybody, I'm not only going to show you how I write, but we're going to tackle some of the scenes and what's happened inside of scenes, inside of the OPXY. So what I do right off the bat is I make new scenes on Okay, so the first scene is now all messed up, and I go back and make them all number 1. The cool thing that I like are the clips are numbered, okay? And so we've had people talking that they're a little upset about how things copy and paste over. Everything's blank, and when I go to number 1 again over here, it's all blank. It's number 1. And when I start writing into my clips, I actually write into the second one. And I go to the second scene too. So I go scene 2, and then I'll pick the second clips, because then I have a fully blank scene, and when I copy over to the next place, like let's say I go here, there's nothing, it's blank. But when I go to number 2, it's all number 2. When I go to 1, it's all 1. And if we did a third row of clips, sometimes I'd associate those rows of clips with the numbers that I have here. Okay, so kind of like maybe a beginner thing, but again, we're going to start writing in row 2, and then I'm going to go to like the drum part, and then I'm going to pick a tempo. So 140, and then when I hit play, the sequencer runs, and I turn off the metronome because it drives me nuts. And so you just put a hi-hat down, let's say. All right, now that means scene 2 right now is a hi-hat, and then number 3, I'm going to turn into where my snare is this time, okay? Now you can do this any way you want, you know, it's not, but I do the first 3 tracks as drums, because then I can have the rim shot have a like reverb and snare and delay. Okay. And now I said I was writing in the key of G, which secretly is E minor. The reason I picked it is because now when I write, okay, something super easy, right? And again, this is for writing purposes, right? So E minor would mean I start on E, and the only sharp is F sharp. So that's the scale that I'm playing, right? I'm gonna go down, sorry, like that, and then I divide my bar by 4, so the bar runs 4 times as long. So if you want to start on the number 1, you can hit record play. Excuse me. And when I hit the first note, the sequence starts. So that's kind of the key. If I hit E right now, it's not only my first note, it's the play button for the sequencer. So super easy. And there's a filter here, and that arrow is key follow. So if you make sure key follow is not on, this is a secret of mine, because I'm going to automate the filter, right? Meaning I'm going to move it in real time. I hold record. And now you can see it move. And I'm going to turn up the resonance. And I'm going to put a little bit of delay on the bass, so the filter movement has a little bit of action. Okay. And if you want to smooth that out, you hold this down and you turn this last knob, and then your knob turn is smooth. Okay. So really quickly, you see, and I'm going to pause it for a second. So I did kick, hi-hat, and snare 1, 2, and 3. And then I did my bass on number 4. We're in the key of G major, and I'm considering it from 6 right now, because I did a bass line on E minor, right? Now, I did this because most techno is pretty simple, and it doesn't want to be too complicated. So the next sound I want is going to be like a light arpeggiated sound, I call it, because it's like a development, and we're still in that first scene. So before I do this, we're going to make another scene, and I'm going to teach you how I do that. So basically, I'll just use this and mute the crap out of it, right? Now check it out. That means short envelopes. So very staccato sound. And then I turn on the arpeggiator. And remember, it's E minor, so it's gonna like it's gonna be like that, right? Every other note. And when I get ready to do this, I can double that time. That means the notes sequenced on the arranger in time to the clock. If it's that circle, it's free running. If it's the note, you're locked in time. And I want this because I want a syncopated thing. Now, when I play this, you're going to hear it stretched over 8 bars now because I'm going to do a divide 8. And again, I'm staying in the key of G. So when I hit record, the first note I play, let's see what happens. Okay, and I did that on the second scene, right? And I'm going to kind of mute that down a little bit. And again, shorten that sound. Very staccato. I don't want it very noticeable. So I'm going to turn it down in the mix. And in scenes, if I mess up anything, I can copy. I can make a new scene, and I can paste. So I can always, and if that makes extra ones, you can delete them easy too. So say delete. All right. I'm going to say delete on number 2, and then I'm going to make a third scene that is that development. So, and that means I got to turn up to all my clip number 2. So, scene 3 looks like this, right? And super simple. Now, the reason, if anybody wants to know why would I do music theory, like why do you do this, right? Well, because if a friend shows up to play and has their instrument, very easy. Because you can find the root. So I played really easy. It's basically just like an E minor. And the weird one is you gotta throw F sharp in, because that's where the hint that you're in the key of G is, right? The spacing and everything, right? All right, so scene 3, and I'm literally gonna make here's a blank spot. You know, we're gonna turn these all to 2, so they're not the muted channels from 1. Remember, I made 1 totally blank. 2, there's no arpeggiator. 3 has the arpeggiator. And like I said, in the mix, it's a little hot. Okay, and then number 6 is going to be, I'm going to pick chords this time or something, right? So there's your string. And let's talk about how we can write an interesting string part, right? Because this kind of eludes people. I know a lot of people get to a spot where they're like, well, I feel confident in writing, but what if I don't understand how to write chords, right? And in techno, too much movement makes people not like the music. It's not flowy enough. I jokingly say, non-jokingly say. So the fact that you would get ready to write something in techno, that chords expand on themselves. So if I write a chord, right, that's a 7th. And the magic spots could also be, I hear a lot of good about a 6, which is right behind it. You can play the root because that's super obvious, right? And root adds space. Makes it sound like, you know, like they're far apart, like the two sounds, right? And then if I went and got as crazy as thinking about where's my 13 or my 9, you know, is going to be the one after E. So the first note after E is this guy. That's our 9th. So if I played 1, 5, 9, that has some rise to it. I might turn off, I forget, is it? There it is. Portamento's hidden in envelope, and then you hit shift, and then it's hidden inside of there, right? So if I didn't want any of that portamento, right? So there's like a 9 chord. 9, right? We could do an 11. This adds so much nice space to the music, right? So I'm going to just play the first chord. I'm going to play simple. And then I'm going to play a 7. And then I'm going to play a 6. And then I'll play the tension in my note there. So let's see how this goes. We're going to do divide by 8. I'm going to hit record. And then I'm going to hit my first chord. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, and thanks everybody for watching. This is me just showing music theory from the Teenage Engineering OPXY, and just showing you how I make scenes too. But let's do this. A little bit of tension at the end. And remember, mixer volume's your friend. So's reverb. You can push things back in the mix. Alright. Okay, so right now I got some development, and now I'm ready for my lead. So I'm going to make another scene. We're on 3. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so right now I made a mistake. I hit paste. So remember, it's all going to be quiet when you go to the next scene. I kind of prefer that to me, okay? I like going to the next scene and it being quiet. I know some people have been complaining, but for me, when the scene's quiet, thank you, David, I appreciate it. Yeah, I try to like keep things kind of very organized, to the sense that if I go to another scene, there's nothing on it. And that's because I did everything as the first scene as all blank clips as number 1, you know. Well, excuse me. I write into numbers 2 and 3 a lot, and 4 as far as my clips. And so right now we're only on the second clip, and I'm going to work on a lead. So I just go. So there's my lead sound. I'm going to make this 8 bars again. And again, we're in the key of G. Now, my tension building was when I hit F sharp. You know, this note, when I made a little bit of a weird step, I like using the diminished region kind of laced in there somewhere. And I meant that more when I did the chord. The distance was really close. Like the 2 notes were just like butted up against each other. Parliament Funkadelic does that a lot. I think Stevie Wonder does that a lot. I can't name how many bands actually do that trick. So when people wonder, like when I'm teaching on stream, the tricks I'm trying to teach might have been something I've read in a book that was like, remember, in this track by Parliament Funkadelic. Like I remember watching Bernie Worrell's hand just like do that, even in a video, and I was like, oh my god, he just jams notes like really close together. So to me, that's a fun tension builder at the end of the spot. And when I'm playing lead this time, you're gonna hear a little bit more, I call it like heart pulling, because of me hitting that note with the chord on the string. So let's see how this turns out. Because if you keep playing, see, there's where the fun, because you don't want to just keep playing the 1 and the 3 and the 5, because it's going to assimilate too much with the sounds that are already there, the bass and stuff like that. When I reach and I'm playing, and I play like 7, 2, and I keep kind of reaching further up, that distance is going to give the sound a little bit more character, and it will stand out because I'm not just the same ones in the chord all the time. Okay, so remember as you play, if you do that. Now, the other trick a lot of people do, or I do personally, is I just omit a couple notes. Like maybe I won't play the sharp note, or maybe I won't play the 3rd. And as I'm playing my scale and I do that, it might also add some like bit of mystery to what am I playing. So let's go ahead and hit record. We're gonna see what happens here. So there we go. And then the trick here is, again, the filter. Like, if I'm not adjusting this filter as this lead plays, it just sounds so plain and not really interesting. So I'm going to go back through now. I'm going to hold the record, and I'm going to automate the filter frequency while it plays, right? So... yes, I do hit it hard on the filter because it kind of plucks it, and especially if I start using resonance. And I got to bring that down in the mix. And that's what I like. It reminds me of an old Moog. Okay, now... a lot of people do their tricks on the second track here and do all this like fancy parameter or step effect things, which is cool. But I actually do a lot of my tricks on the 8th track. And I do that because I find that I just put an auxiliary drum kit here and try to make like fun, I don't know if the word's like skip ups or changes. So I'm going to pick the drum set that I made out of my kitchen. Because it has some pretty kind of interesting sounds. It also has my kit. Or we could also use one of theirs because I just need like some weird high pitch kind of and percussive, right? And so what I end up doing is this. I go to my track, I do divide by, like, say, 2 for right now as I write. All right, so, and now a little bit of like a roll. And in the mix, again, if I keep that down, I just like some kind of different change there, right? So I think structurally how I write a lot of the music you guys are seeing. I pick a key. I start with blank scenes. And then as I progress, we're already like pretty at full capacity. So if I go shift 5 to the 5th scene, so I have like a break here, right? Let's say I'm only using 2 things, right? And then when I go to 6, we're going to make a little more development. So I like that when I go to the next scene, it's actually blank. I kind of prefer that. I don't know. It was making me upset because I'd go to a new scene and there'd be like all this crap going on and I was in the middle of thinking of what I was doing and I'm like, I just want to think for a second. So when I go to the next scene and it's blank, I can go back and kind of like modify. Where I'm kind of upset that you can't do shift and then global copy of all the scenes and then make your next scene and paste the way that you just had everything. I think that's making some of us a little upset, right? Like there should be a copy and there should be a copy paste feature. Definitely inside the scenes, right? So, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to show today. I think I got the song pretty much built and pretty there, you know. And I showed everybody how I think about key signature, you know. And that's pretty much the song, right? Yeah, so having fun, enjoying the day. I hope everybody's having a good day. Yeah, little song, made it in the key of G, wrote out the theory just so I had it. But secretly, I only used the chord like E minor, you know, and just kind of built everything around E. It is techno, so I wanted to sound pretty chill. It's basically like a dubbed out kind of chill techno kind of thing. But yeah, hey, I hope everybody enjoyed learning a little bit of music theory with me today. And hopefully when you go to make your next track, you're going to do the same thing and write out your theory and kind of think about what key you're in, so that as you're writing or you have friends come over or you go to build onto the track sometime later, you actually have something to build upon. All right, everybody, enjoy the Wednesday. Thanks for showing up, and have a great day. All right, everybody. Hey, have a good day. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate everybody hanging out.